wonderful Earth rings. How are you, man? You see, if in the whole world there ever existed a time when all Earth rings were united, then words like racism could not have existed. Wonderful soul, let me take these few seconds to thank you as you also hit the like button for clicking this video, because that's a wonderful gesture. Respect to yourself, man. You see, let me put you up to speed of everything that goes around here, which is basically reacting to videos you'll never get to see anywhere else. And all this is with the intention of making sure all Earthlings are able to forgive one another, live with honesty, and above all, spread love to everybody across the whole world. You see, I am Y311H, man. Straight out of Africa, man. With lots of good vibes. Hit the like button and let's dive in. Good vibes from Joel.
So here we have in Sky Sea, UK, Culver Hole. And now check out this buried and melted piece of our past. And just check out this solid brick structure encased all around it in rock. Now there's a really cool video somebody has done on the inside of this location. Just get a load of that aerial view though. You can just see it peeking out from that rock. Just imagine believing that people with horse and buggy came out in the middle of nowhere and built this so perfectly into a cliff. This kind of reminds me of that half-buried building in Half Moon Bay, California. The one right on top of a golf course they say was just a failed extension. But take a look at the video from somebody on the inside here and let me know what you think.
Yeah, say it, Culver Hole, guys. I mean, so far you can see there's little bits like this. Just looks like a bird's nest in there, I'm not gonna lie.
Pause here for a second. You can see where that brick turns into that unrecognizable stone portion, completely melted.
Also, who's off up there somewhere, down over here? There's supposedly a smuggler's cave in here, guys, but I'm not seeing nothing apparent. I mean, there's big openings, but supposedly they don't really go anywhere.
We all want to know who built these massive cathedrals, right? We all want to know who had the knowledge before we were all born. We want to know why we're being told that they were built with hammers and chisels. Today, I think we take a step closer to finding out where this incredible knowledge of construction truly came from, where we are all aware of the massive continent that was completely left out of our mainstream textbooks, the Land of Mew. So let's go even deeper. When we go back to this article from the Courier Journal from 1925, nearly 100 years ago, where it reads, according to the records from Colonel Churchward and the East Indian High Priest, the records state that some people were brought by flying machines to India from the Land of Mew in the Pacific Ocean. The records say that Mew was the motherland of man. In Mew was the Garden of Eden, where they had cities, where they learned to build palaces of marble. They acquired the skill to quarry gigantic blocks of stone and to transport them long distances and to carve them into human faces.
Yeah, man. Yo, good vibes till the end.
I decided that I wanted a better life, a quieter life for my children, somewhere where I felt they would be safe. So decided to look at Alder Grove and move there.
It's very cunning indeed.
The night of the 17th of July, 1991, started just like any other.
The kids were in bed, they were asleep, and I had a friend who came to visit me. He'd actually talked about marriage at that point.
Thank you. There you go. Oh, that's the way I like it.
It was quite warm, so we decided to go outside on the back patio just to have our tea out there. It's a nice, beautiful, summer night.
Oh, beautiful night.
Oh, it's nice out here.
Your scallop potatoes are incredible.
Thanks, it's the cream.
And I remember all of a sudden feeling this strange humming in my abdomen. And I said, do you feel that? He said, yes, I was going to ask you if you felt that.
Okay, what is that? That's weird.
And I said, look up.
Tom.
Wow.
This thing was about the size of a football field, if not bigger. It was cloaked, and I say that because the only way that you could see the exact shape of it was that it blocked out the stars.
That's crazy.
There were no lights, no sound, and it was just floating along, and then it stopped dead on a dime. Felt claustrophobic, and I said, well, is it going to start coming down? He couldn't handle it.
This is dangerous. We should go inside. Come on. Let's go inside.
I'm out of here. I'm going inside, and you'd better come in with me. He ran inside. I stayed there. To me, it felt like maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the most, and I was just watching it. And then it was there, and then it wasn't.
There you are.
He just said, where have you been?
Where'd you go?
I've looked all over for you. You've been gone for quite a while.
What? I've been right here. I'm watching whatever that was.
Listen, I came out with the tea. You left.
I said I didn't go anywhere.
What are you
I
talking
looked everywhere
about?
for you. I went into the woods. I went to the end of the driveway trying to find you.
An hour.
I said I was outside, just for a few minutes. And he said, no, you've been gone over 45 minutes. I said, that's impossible.
Tom, I've been standing right here looking up at whatever that was in the sky.
Yeah, for
I'm telling you, I was only out there 2 or 3 minutes. I think you're just, a little nervous about this thing you saw. And he said, no. He said, look at the clock.
I thought I should stick around because the kids would be by themselves while you were gone. You've been gone almost an hour, 45 minutes.
And he said, I didn't know what to think.
And you just disappeared. There's no explanation.
I've been standing here the whole time, Tom. Tom, you went inside, you put the teacups down. I have been standing here.
This disappearing act is just not, it doesn't
What
work.
are you, Tom?
I had no idea where I'd been. After that happened, he never came back again. I got a phone call, I'm sorry, goodbye. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, what do we do with this now? What we witnessed was this huge boomerang-shaped ship. It was probably over the size of a football field big. And who do I tell? You're not sure you want to contact somebody and tell them about it because you don't want to be ridiculed. But things didn't match up. Things weren't right. And then the next day, I contacted the planetarium in Vancouver. I said, did you get any other calls? And they said, no, but I'll put you in touch with Vancouver, UFO Vancouver, BC. And didn't even realize there was such a thing.
Investigators from the UFO Reporting Center in British Columbia took Karina's case.
UFO investigators told her that there was 15 other reports that night of similar objects. I've gone through the records of UFO BC, and we've had about 8 UFO reports of boomerang-shaped craft.
It just confirmed that what we had seen was not imaginary. There really was something, because there had been other eyewitness reports that night.
Scientists just found out that striped marlins have a secret ability we'd never observed before. Check out this drone footage. Take a really close look at this first fish. You don't see any stripes on it. It's about to attack this group of sardines, but look what it just did. It charged up its stripes. Take another look. That's the same fish. Now check out this one right here. The second fish. No stripes. We've got an attack. It goes in, it jumps into this big group. As it leaves, it no longer has stripes. And the next one coming in that I just showed you with no stripes is now about to make its attack with stripes. This one no longer has its stripes. The Marlin goes from a pretty bland, uniform color. It suddenly charges up its stripes. It's got this very, very noticeable pattern, and then it goes in for the attack. The scientists hypothesize that this is actually how these fish, which attack with extreme speed and go in and just take a quick turn, kind of stunning as many sardines as they can, this is how they do that without injuring each other. They're letting each other know right before they go in for the attack, so the other knows to stay back just a little bit longer, and then once the other one clears, the next one charges up its stripes and it goes in for its sardines.
Oh man, that's new but interesting.
Look, you cannot control the thoughts that come inside of your head.
Yeah.
We know that.
Yeah.
But you can control if you are talking back. Your superpower is your focus. You cannot control the thoughts. We know they come way too fast.
Yeah.
You cannot control the thoughts that come inside of your head. You can control if you're talking back.
How do you control talking back?
Your focus is your superpower. You are the observer. How do you know you're not this phone?
Because I don't look like it? I don't know.
How do you know you're not this phone?
Because I'm not a phone.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. I'm Shanina.
You can observe it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about your thoughts?
About the phone?
No, can you tell me about your thoughts? Can you tell me about your emotions?
I'm getting good at it.
So you can observe them. We can build the capability to observe them.
I think the problem is like in the past, I'm like, or even for me, my experience is like not talking about my emotions because we're unable to know like the vast majority of what emotions are. Everyone's like, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm sad.
Yeah.
But there's just so many other emotions and we're not verbalizing it. And people don't ask us how we're doing as well. I feel like that's another thing. But
or they might, but it's not mindful.
It's not mindful.
They don't actually care.
Yeah, well, we live in a world where we have a survival instinct and we care about ourselves first and foremost and our community and then the bigger things. But so a lot of people come at me, they're like, oh, you cannot just do value. That's like suppressing emotions. We have to talk about them. We have to. I never talk about suppressing, but I also don't talk about expressing. There's a middle line. It's accepting the emotions, which means you allow them, they're allowed to be there, but you don't spend time on trying to fix them, trying to figure them out. You allow them to be there. It's like a little baby that screams, like the little child in you, basically. Got hurt somewhere in childhood, got bullied, it got hurt, and now you want to go to a social event, and the little child screaming, no, they're going to hurt us. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. You got to be the adult now. You are the adult now. You got to take care of that little child. Take that little child by the hand and say, it's okay, I know you got hurt. We can feel this uncomfortable emotion. And we're going to that event. And the more times you take that child to that event, over time, because people always want a quick fix, it never works. Over time, you take the little child to all those things that you care about. At some point, the little child's like, I'm sorry I was throwing up at you for the last 3 months and screaming at you, but this is not too bad. Nothing happened to us. This is okay. We are confident. We're doing the podcast. We are geniuses.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking me. I'm sorry I threw up at you the last 3 months and screamed at you and yelled at you that you're not good enough. But why are you listening to me? I'm the little child. You're supposed to take care of me. So we are supposed to be the adults.
Right.
And take the little child by the hand.
Right. So real world example, let's just say I've been through a breakup, okay? And I'm very sad, maybe feeling, I don't know, jealous, insecure, not good enough, like all of the range of emotions that one might feel if they've been through a tricky breakup, especially if they've been broken up with, even worse. So you're going through those feelings, and I guess what you're saying is rather than like focusing on those emotions, which perpetuates them, you just have to say to yourself, you know what, I'm feeling sad, that's normal. I'm feeling jealous, that's normal. I'm feeling, insecure, that's normal. Moving on.
Is it a good time to bring
it out the white? Bring it out.
Let's do the math.
This will be very helpful. So I don't know if the audience can see this well.
Yeah, if they're watching on video, yes.
Yeah? Okay. So this is you, right? And we already talked about cognitive diffusion. that these are kind of the thoughts that usually people identify with.
Okay, so we've got a little stick man in the middle.
Yeah.
And he's in between some thoughts.
Not good enough, not ready yet, don't love myself, I forgot the myself here. And I have to heal trauma first before I can do anything. And then, so these are the thoughts that people a lot of times identify with. And then we have feelings of insecurity, anxiety, guilt, and fear. And all of this, we already talked about this, just to wrap it up, comes from past patterns. This is the reactive side right here. This is the reactive side. The thoughts come in, and we talked earlier, right? We cannot control the thoughts coming in. They come in because in the past we spent time on it. So the brain is just like doing its job. That's what I bring up, because in the past we spent time on it.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Right? Maybe there was trauma somewhere in childhood, and then the child, oh, we're not good enough because mom left. And then the thoughts got more deeper and more specific.
Yeah.
And over time, they got so strong that you just identified, I'm just a shy person, I'm just not as cool as everybody else, etc. So these are the identified thoughts, and these are the emotions. And we cannot control the thoughts coming in, but we can control if we talk back. And if we talk back, we are feeding them, and they get bigger and stronger and more powerful, and you're more identified. Same thing with the emotions. If we, and this is called compulsions, a compulsion is anything you do to control a feeling, to control a thought, to control, to try to avoid a feeling, a thought. Example, let's say you want to go out to a social event and you have a feeling of anxiety. If you now avoid going to that social event because of the feeling of anxiety, you are doing a compulsion, which is you staying at home because of the anxiety. So this is called a compulsion, and with that you're feeling the isolation, but also feeling less good enough and more anxiety, because you show the brain those valued actions must be dangerous because you're avoiding going to do the valued actions. So your brain, I'm your best friend. I want to protect you from the danger. And what are the tools the brain has to protect you? It doesn't have arms. It doesn't have tentacles to pull you back from the social events. It has three things: emotions, thoughts, and bodily sensations. So it can give you panic attack sensations, it can give you depression, it can give you anxiety to keep you from going to those social events. This is how the brain works. So this is the reactive side. You are being reactive to the already existing patterns in your body, which then you're feeding those patterns. Now, by that, you're staying unconscious and you're living your life based on patterns. You're being a slave to the brain. You're staying in your old habits. Nothing is changing.
Yeah.
And this is all based on this error here, which is your superpower, which is your focus. Your focus, I want everybody to remember, is really your superpower.
My best friend.
Your best friend, because it's you. And you decide, now, is it easy to focus if your whole life you've been like pulled in by the thoughts and what? No, but same thing with your whole life. You haven't been going to the gym and have only eating Big Macs. It's not easy to now start working out. But when you start working out, it gets easier and easier. I want people to know when they start their emotional and mental focus fitness journey, over time, everything gets easier. And this is the only way to break it, because if you spend time on the old patterns, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
So this side, and trust me, I'm coming to the heartbreak. I just have to because this is also new. You know what I mean?
It makes sense.
Yeah. So this is the reactive side. So the only way we can break this pattern and create new things in our lives is by becoming proactive. And we actually are not going to try to be proactive with thoughts and emotions so much. That's not the biggest key. We want to become proactive with valued actions.
Wow.
Okay, so what are the examples of valued actions?
So in my coaching and my courses, I like to give, just to focus, this is something that, the Value Garden exercise, by the way, by Mark Freeman. Check him out, guys. He has a great book, You Are Not a Rock. Awesome. He's amazing. In my eyes, he should be on Joe Rogan. He's the best mental health person on the internet. I truly believe that.
Great.
But so he made up the value garden exercise, and I made up, in addition to the value garden exercise, I made up these 7 values for people to focus, to give them an easier way to find their valued actions. Because that's a big question that people say, what are my valued actions?
And move away from like the past patterns.
Move away from the controlling feelings, thoughts and all that. But because by controlling feelings and thoughts, you're just feeding the patterns, right?
Makes sense.
Oh man, oh, good vibes people. We should all be laughing, you see? And full of good vibes. This some UFO attacks helicopter. Oh my god. And you can see the helicopter coming down. This is crazy, man. Why would this UFOs do that? You see, we should unite and check up on these things. You see? Oh, look at this. Hey, allegedly this is a seraphim angel. Oh, where was this one recorded now? Good people of Earth. Can you see the eye in the middle and the rotating rings that maybe have eyes? Oh, this is crazy, man. Looks like some things you saw here on some episode talking about the angels that were written about in the Bible. Good people of Earth. Do you think this one is a real angel? Leave your comments. You see, from the past, the stories I was told growing up, I used to think angels are just people like us, only that they are extremely white, like cotton wool, and they have wings, and they have that circular stuff above their head. Now when I see this video here and someone allegedly says this one is an angel, I'm quite surprised and I wonder, how does things work out here? You see, that's why we really need one another to understand this stuff. Good people of Earth, do you think this is real? Oh man. And then there's this big giant fish. Oh, what is it doing, man? Yo, this one can drink a lot of water at once. Yo, look at it. Yo, the mouth is pretty big. No wonder someone can fit in someone like Jonah from the Bible. Hey, look at this. Yo, crazy stuff, man. Look at this. Looks like some frying pan. Yo, and you see that one, only that it is shining. Look at this. That's crazy, man. So-called lake monsters caught on camera. The last one is possibly an interdimensional being. But this one, the first one, looks like some type of dragon or something like that. But now what's already hard to understand about it? If it is true or what's up, man? Oh, look at these other ones. Yo, this one is pretty big. And it was on the river there. Oh my god, this is scary. What is this stuff, man? Oh, it really makes me wonder. Where did it come from even? Yo, this is some big stuff. Oh my god. Oh. And then there's this one on the sky. Can you see that stuff? Oh, good people over. What is this thing? Oh my god. Oh. Why is it working like that? Is it normal? Oh, this one I don't know what this is. Good people of Earth. Look at this. Oh. This is crazy, man. Some crazy stuff all over. Oh. Look at the type of movement that this one has. Oh my god. Oh, and then there's this good vibes guy that decided to show us this footage from above the earth. Oh. And then now we look down, good people of Earth. We see the earth there. And now what's even more creepy is that it looks a bit circular. Good people of Earth, do you think this is how it looks?
There's definitely more to this story. I live in Texas, in a direct path of this eclipse. In the last eclipse, no one even showed up back in October. There were a few people on the highways. They expected large crowds. Nothing happened. No big deal. The city wasn't planning for anything. Now they've declared a state of emergency. And this is the bulletin the city is sending out to the residents to prepare for the April 8th eclipse. Tell me how this makes any sense. If we had an eclipse in October and nothing serious happened, hardly anyone showed up. But this time they've declared a state of emergency, and this is how they want us to prepare. I've also heard of counties in Oklahoma bringing in National Guard for a celestial event. Why would we not have cell service for days on end? Why would we need to supply food and water and gasoline? Why would we expect the 911 services to be done? None of this makes any sense for a normal natural event. There's something serious that they know about, they're trying to warn us about, without telling us about, in my opinion.
This has to happen at some point in the galactic plane. There can only be one timeline, okay? And the benevolents are absolutely aware of which is the correct one, the authentic one. And they're doing everything they can to make sure that is the only one. And it's a difficult dance because we all have free will. And I just, I wish that they would just tell everybody. They could give everybody the same dream and say, look, this is what it is. Okay, and then back it up. And we all wake up and we're like, whoa. That's the way to make this work. Okay? Or at least get everybody to start talking about it without scaring the dickens out of probably 80% of the population, who walk around mostly in amnesia. But at least it would get them thinking about what's going on. I know it's hard. I know we're all struggling with stuff, with families, with work, with homelessness, with prosperity or lack thereof. I know it's tough. I know it's hard. But if it's any solace at all, it's that you are not only here, but you're also in another timeline. You're also in other dimensions. Okay, so there is more of you than of what is just here. Okay? If you can just pause for a moment and remember that there is more of you than was what is right here, right now, listening to me. There is more of you. If you could focus your intent on connecting to the more of you, you won't feel so powerless or overwhelmed. I want that for everybody. I really do. I really do. Can we do questions?
Is Alex able to comment on the email I sent him yesterday in regard to the Juncker and his reference to ETs? Or the, this is the, do you know this thing, the EU guy called Juncker? He was talking to other planetary, he said, I was talking to other planetary leaders in the way of expressing it such that he's talking to people from other planets, leaders from other planets. Have you heard anything about this?
No, I don't know that I even have the email, frankly.
Yeah, you got to remember that Alex has. How many emails a day? How many emails do you get a day, Alex?
Between 300 and 500. Can you have her resend it?
Ingrid, would you send it with a special marking, Alex?
As per Q&A.
There we go. As per Q&A. Okay. Here's Mike Kelly. You have discussed the conditions that enabled the founding of the USA and mentioned that there was a 300-year period with little to no ET contact that helped make the USA possible. Are there any other details you care to share that you think could help us understand the way forward?
Well, that's a really good question. Well, for one, the population that was here was mostly indigenous, as you know. But however, the indigenous people do have legends of the sky people. And there are some tribes who talk about having extended, though relatively short, conversations with the Sky Brothers. As far as I know, that was roughly it. It could be that the focus was more on Europe than any other place. Now, let's take a look at that. Though there was relatively little going on here in the States in that regard, let's go back to Europe and let's go back to the many stories about children being visited. Let's go back to the stories where we have proof in art that the plague, the bubonic plague, that there were spacecraft, flying craft, spraying that over cities, where later became the plague. There are many, many stories throughout the world of starships. In China, you have stories of several emperors saying, you know, why are those things moving? Why are those stars moving? And the wise consultants of those days were saying, well, because the wind is blowing, it's making the stars move, when in fact they were spacecraft. So there's been a lot here going on all the time. Has there been a lot of interaction between the common people? No, I don't believe so. I believe what was happening was that there were certain cultures or civilizations, such as the Sumerian, the Egyptian, where there was contact because of bloodlines. And that information was just never shared with the common people, ever. We have the same thing in Germany, the Habsburgs, aka the Windsors, etc. So it may appear that nothing was going on. It's just that it was not common knowledge in any way, shape, or form. So, but here in the States, we have those legends, most of which have been completely discarded and, you know, just dismissed, completely out of hand. So, but there was things going on. It was just not as prevalent as it is now because you had a smaller population. Now you have a very large population where you have this incredible focus of intense energy, conscious energy that has the ability to change the landscape of our galaxy in a very positive way or in a very negative way. Okay? That's why we're getting so much attention. Or that's it for that.
Okay. Viewing a galactic battle. To him, it seemed like hours. Is there a galactic battle raging now?
Yes. Michael, resend me your phone number.
As per Q&A.
Thank you. Yes, there is. I've been saying this for years. For years and years and years I've been saying this, that there's a lot of stuff going on out there, especially the perimeter is just inside the asteroid belt. Okay, that's where it is now. Before then, it was much further out. Now it's just inside the asteroid belt. And essentially, the purpose of this is to make the space of the regressive forces very, very small. Because when it's really small, what happens is they begin to freak out on each other. And then they start to take each other out. You see, it never fails. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Okay. I think it's thoughts, Alex.
Well, if you've had lots of dreams of fighting giants, you're clearly dreaming. And I don't mean dreaming. I mean, you're obviously in another place. The question is, are they black and white or are they in color? If they're in color, you're in another place. Okay, you're traveling. You understand? And you need to know the difference. Okay, in color, you're traveling. You're somewhere else. What happens is you have to remember, if it's in color, you have to maybe, before you go to bed, if it's in color, I'm going to look at the ring on my finger. Okay, you program yourself to do that. So that when you leave your body and you're in that place, wherever it is, and it's color, you will remember to look at your ring. That will remind you that you're...
Yeah, man. Wonderful answerings. Thank you very much for watching up to this far. You see that good vibes guy with all that information was requesting Earthlings to just stay calm, you see, and be forgiving towards one another. Because that way, we can be able to unite, understand this stuff, and come up with solutions to our problems, you see. Wonderful soul. For watching up to this far, respect to yourself, man. You're definitely a good vibe soul. Even for hitting the like button, big up, man, and a shout out to you. Even those that have clicked in for the first time, feel much welcome, and this is the place to spread love. You're all loved and respected. You see, wonderful soul. Today I came here with a friend of mine. We called him the Wakanda friend, you see. And I'm sure he has said hi to you. Good vibes, man. Till next time for some fire episode, click the like button. Bye bye, man. Peace and love.